Impact Wrestling celebrates its 21st anniversary at SLAMMIVERSARY live July the 15th on pay-per-view from the St Clair College Sportsplex in Windsor, Ontario. Tickets are on sale now at Eventbrite. Countdown to SLAMMIVERSARY. Jody Fret unites with the Death Dolls to fight back against the Shaw entourage. Recently on Impact, Giselle Shaw looked to get back in the winning column when she battled Courtney Rush in singles competition. In typical Shaw entourage fashion, Savannah Evans and Jay Vidal were constantly involved in the matchup, and eventually the numbers game was just too much to overcome for Rush and her ally, Jessica. In a digital exclusive clip, Jody Fret stood up to the locker room bullies as she united with the Death Dolls. This Saturday on Countdown to SLAMMIVERSARY, Fret will join forces with Rush and Jessica to battle Shaw and Evans and Vidal in a 6-person tag team contest. The action begins on Countdown to SLAMMIVERSARY, streaming live and free this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and Impact Plus and Fight. Catch up on everything you need to know heading into the big event and witness exclusive matchups you won't see anywhere else. Countdown to SLAMMIVERSARY. Joe Hendry puts the digital media title on the line against Kenny King. For the past several weeks, Kenny King has been a thorn in the side of digital media champion Joe Hendry. After Hendry made quick work of the King's protege, Sheldon Jean, King laid in wait as Hendry successfully defended his title against Yuya Uemura. But tensions really began to escalate when Hendry debuted his newest music video, which highlighted King's past as a male stripper. On Countdown to SLAMMIVERSARY, King will receive the opportunity he's been waiting for when he challenges Hendry for the digital media title. Hendry has been on a roll since becoming the champion of the World Wide Web, but can King dethrone the musical master? The action begins on Countdown to SLAMMIVERSARY, streaming live and free at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and Impact Plus and Fight. Catch up on everything you need to know heading into the big event and witness exclusive matchups you won't see anywhere else. Deonna Purrazzo accepts Trinity's challenge for Epic Knockouts World Title bout at SLAMMIVERSARY. After victories over Kylie King and Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans, and Trinity declared that she was waiting for the winner of Deonna Purrazzo versus Jordynne Grace at Under Siege. After the virtuosa emerged from London victorious and retained the Knockouts World Championship, Trinity challenged Deonna to a monumental first-time ever match at SLAMMIVERSARY. Can Trinity continue to shine and complete her journey to becoming Knockouts World Champion, or will the age of the virtuosa continue along past the July the 15th pay-per-view event in Windsor? Seismic shift in Impact World Title picture leads to Alex Shelley versus Nick Aldis at SLAMMIVERSARY. At against all odds, Alex Shelley overcome the odds and defeated Steve Maclin to become Impact World Champion for the very first time, an accomplishment over 20 years in the making. Shelley finally won the big one. Earlier in the night, Nick Aldis conquered 7 other competitors in the first ever 8-4-1 match, punching his ticket to the main event of Impact Wrestling's summer pay-per-view extravaganza. At SLAMMIVERSARY, Alex Shelley will defend his newly won Impact World title against Nick Aldis in a highly anticipated matchup. We now know that Aldis has had his sights set on reclaiming the gold since his shocking return to Impact this past April. But with Shelley finally realizing his lifelong dream, is there anything he's not willing to sacrifice in order to remain on top? Shelley and Aldis and the epic Impact World title clash that you can't miss goes down at SLAMMIVERSARY. Dina joins forces with Bully Ray for major tag team match at SLAMMIVERSARY. Dina, one of the most vindictive and deceitful and driven wrestlers in the business, was confirmed by Bully Ray as his new tag team partner for the high-profile SLAMMIVERSARY tag team match. It was first announced live on Busted Open, which airs on Sirius XM Fight Nation Channel 156. Dina replaces former Impact Wrestling World Champion Steve MACLIN, who was scheduled to team with Bully Ray but is unable to participate at SLAMMIVERSARY on Saturday, July the 15th at the St. Clair College Sportsplex in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. MACLIN suffered a serious injury during Impact's Down Under tour in Australia. In addition, Impact Wrestling executives have not commented on the status of PCO, who endured a horrendous fiery assault by Bully Ray and MACLIN on the weekly flagship TV show Impact. Scott D'Amore was unavailable for comment. However, D'Amore is scheduled as a special guest on Impact's Press Pass podcast on Tuesday, July the 11th, to address the media about everything SLAMMIVERSARY related. Dina surprised the Busted Open Nation with his very personal appeal to Bully Ray to tag at SLAMMIVERSARY. Dina went into great detail on the live show, sharing never-before-told stories about D'Amore and Dina's pure hatred for D'Amore. Scott D'Amore is an overrated POS in the ring, and I can prove it, and it would make me so happy to do it in his hometown in front of his friends and family. Dina said, "I'm going to kick the shit out of D'Amore at SLAMMIVERSARY." Former NFL star Darren McCarty, a 4-time Stanley Cup winner for the Detroit Red Wings, will be the special enforcer for this special grudge match. SLAMMIVERSARY is one of Impact Wrestling's premier events of the year, airing live and around the world on pay-per-view, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. SLAMMIVERSARY kicks off with the Countdown to SLAMMIVERSARY show, streaming live and free at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and Impact Plus and Fight. For all the latest SLAMMIVERSARY news as well as ticket information, go to IMPACTWrestling.com. ABC to defend the Impact World Tag Team titles in a stacked 4-way match at SLAMMIVERSARY. After overcoming the challenge of the Good Hands at Against All Odds, ABC will look to continue their trend-setting Impact World title reign at SLAMMIVERSARY, but doing so will be easier said than done, as they must defend against not one, not two, but 3 teams in a stacked 4-way contest. Opposing them will be the reunited duo of Moose and Brian Myers and longtime friends Rich Swann and Sami Callihan and Subculture, who recently made a splash upon their Impact debut. With the odds stacked against Ace Austin and Chris Bay, will the Bullet Club tandem escape the Impact World Tag Team titles in their possession, or will the new champions be crowned in Windsor? Ultimate X returns at Slammiversary, winner to earn X Division title shot any time of their choosing. The high-risk, high-wire spectacular known as Ultimate X returns at Slammiversary, with a shot at the coveted X Division Championship up for grabs. Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham and Kushida and Kevin Knight and Angels will attempt to make their way across the cables and retrieve the infamous X. This will mark the first Ultimate X match for 4 of the 5 competitors. However, Mike Bailey is no stranger to the match type, as he was victorious in the Ultimate X at last year's Slammiversary. Who is willing to throw caution to the wind for a golden opportunity? We find out in Windsor. Challenge accepted: Chris Sabin to defend the X Division title against Leo Rush at Slammiversary. Leo Rush sent a message upon his debut on June the 29th, 2023 edition of Impact on Access TV. After defeating Jack Price in singles action, Rush made his intentions crystal clear when he joined Nick Aldis in assaulting in the Motor City Machine Guns later that night. Rush would go on to attack Chris Sabin with the X Division title and stand tall over the reigning champ to close out the show. In a digital exclusive clip, it was Sabin who laid out the challenge to Rush for an X Division title showdown at Slammiversary. We can now confirm that the challenge has been accepted, and this blockbuster match has been made official for Impact's summer pay-per-view extravaganza. Having held the championship gold in some of the top wrestling promotions around the world, will Rush add the X Division title to his list of accolades? Unlikely allies in Master Slamovich and Killer Kelly challenge the Coven for the Knockouts Tag Gold at Slammiversary. A few weeks ago on Impact, Killer Kelly scored an important victory over one half of the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, Taylor Wilde. After the match, Kelly found herself on the receiving end of a 2-on-1 beatdown when Kylie King joined the fray. But in a jaw-dropping turn of events, it was Master Slamovich who came to Kelly's aid just days after the two tore each other apart in a brutal dog collar match. 2 weeks later, Slamovich would go one-on-one with King. Following a repeated interference from Wilde, Kelly returned the favour and neutralised her at ringside, leading to the victory for Slamovich. With 2 wins over the Coven, Killer Kelly and Master Slamovich have earned a Knockouts World Tag Team title opportunity at Slammiversary. Will the unlikely allies dethrone the dealers of dark magic? Tracy Brooks will be in Frankie Kazarian's corner for Slammiversary grudge match versus Eddie Edwards. 2 of wrestling's biggest names, both trained by wrestling legend Killer Kowalski, will settle their rivalry once and for all when Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian meet in singles competition at Slammiversary. Back against all odds, Kazarian toppled Edwards in a hard-fought contest. In a surprising turn of events, it was Edwards who stood side by side with Kazarian during a verbal confrontation with Bully Ray and Steve MACLIN just days later. When it was time for the two duos to face off on Impact, Edwards and Kazarian were unable to coexist, resulting in their defeat. After agreeing that they're destined to be enemies, Edwards evened the score by defeating Kazarian with the help of a repeated interference from his wife Alyssa. SLAMMIVERSARY will now play host to their heated grudge match, but this time Kazarian will bring the original knockout Tracy Brooks to be in his corner. Santino Marella gets his hands on Dirty Dango at SLAMMIVERSARY Fallout. It was just a few months ago when Santino Marella was blindsided by a mystery attacker, forcing the Director of Authority to spend several weeks at home recovering. Detective Dango would lead the investigation, but it turned out to be a cover-up when digital media champion Joe Hendry discovered that he was the culprit. Questioning Morella's leadership of the Impact locker room, Dirty Dango decided to take matters into his own hands, but he didn't finish the job. Marella would return to the Impact Zone and introduce Dango to the lethal force known as the Cobra. At SLAMMIVERSARY Fallout, revenge is in the air as Santino Marella competes for the first time since Rebellion in a personal grudge match against Dirty Dango. After SLAMMIVERSARY, the battle is far from over. On Sunday, July the 16th, the television trucks of Impact on Access TV come to the St. Clair College Sportsplex in Windsor for SLAMMIVERSARY Fallout, featuring all your favourite Impact stars in action. Tickets are on sale now at Eventbrite.